Over the past month, a new AI chatbot called ChatGPT has been drawing a lot of attention and big predictions about how it might cause problems with automatic generation of school assignments, essays, maybe even scripts and novels someday. But we want to stick with business because what if you could use a chatbot like this to help you get a job? Not necessarily in making up your entire resume, I'll leave that to George Santos, but maybe writing a cover letter or something like that. So there was an experiment done in this area and we're gonna get to it in a second, but just in case you're not that familiar with how these AI chatbots work, take a look at this.
Alongside ChatGPT and DALL-E 2 is GPT-3, a natural language system that can also write, argue, and code. And ChatGPT uses an upgraded version of this to create text at incredible speeds. According to a statement from OpenAI, we've trained a model called ChatGPT, which interacts in a conversational way. The dialogue format makes it possible for ChatGPT to answer follow-up questions, admit its mistakes, challenge incorrect premises, and reject inappropriate requests. The software itself has been trained by AI and machine learning, with massive amounts of text data from various sources. It corrects grammar, it summarizes difficult text into simple concepts, it converts movies into emojis, and it fixes bugs in Python code.
And so you can see there the basic idea of how this works. Now I've used ChatGPT quite a bit and I think their description there was quite accurate, both of how it works, some of its limitations. But when it comes to getting a job, we're gonna talk about an experiment that was run by Beatrice Nolan of Business Insider, who used ChatGPT to look at job descriptions and put together cover letters to try to potentially get hired for that job, and used it to give to the people who evaluate these sorts of things to see what they thought of it. So one of the jobs was for a social media assistant, another was for a purchase ledger clerk, and the two different recruiters that evaluated these cover letters said that they looked like they'd been written by genuine candidates. It was not in any way immediately clear that these were entirely produced by an AI chatbot, not by an actual human. One who works for Reed, Chris Wilshire, said, "We would likely think this was written by a genuine candidate and follow up with a screening call. The structure of the letter is good, but it lacks some detail around the company they're applying for." Stephanie Petrie of Jobber says, "Their writing style is not what I would expect from someone in that role. Their tone is too formal and dry, and I'd expect them to show more creativity and character." And by the way, in my own use of ChatGPT, it does tend to start off pretty formal, pretty dry. But the thing is, you can take something that it's generated, for instance, a cover letter like this, that the tone might not be right for, and you can say, I want you to remake this, but be more conversational, use more slang, maybe throw in a joke, and it will reevaluate and do that. And so this experiment was like the most simplistic version. You feed in a bit of information about the job, and then the first pass of what it produces is what you give. But if somebody was willing to put in just a little bit of time to add a few extra facts and maybe tweak the style a little bit, I could see this potentially being used by people to get inquiries from people hiring.
I can even see it being used to replace talk show hosts.
I have actually done some research, and that's largely what's happened on CNN and MSNBC for several decades.
Well, by the way, 100%, there you go. I mean, if Wolf Blitzer's real name isn't ChatGPT, I don't know what is. Okay, so look, I think this is an interesting sign of the times because everything is about to be fake. We've got deep fakes. We've got videos now where it is really hard to tell if that's the real person or not the real person in the video. You got pictures that are nearly impossible to tell. That's been around for quite some time, and now you've got things that can be written and created that sound very human, either a formal human or maybe even a less formal human. So we're about to enter a trippy world. I mean, it's already super trippy. I mean, if you just ask your parents what they think, and they'll tell you some nonsense they read on Facebook that isn't even close to true. But we're about to supercharge that. Jordan, what do you think?
You know, I don't know how I feel about it. I'm kind of like, I agree with you, Cenk. The future is really strange and uncertain, and the role, not just like deepfakes and things like this, like AI generating images or art, and now text, but also just the way social media has been fully integrated into our lives and a key component of our lives, it seems deeply unhealthy. But since we're almost out of time, it's the end of the year, I'm gonna argue that this is a good thing, because applying for jobs sucks. Applying for job after job, if you're really desperate to find a job, the worst part is the cover letters, because most employers don't even read them. They read the first graph, they look at your resume, and they decide within 30 seconds whether or not they like you. Like, I'd say on this issue specifically, go for it. Spam ChatGPT and fill out those stupid cover letters. In 2023, I really hope we can move beyond requiring a cover letter or a written statement or writing assignments, all this extra homework for these jobs, especially when doing that, there's no guarantee you're even gonna get a call back. It is such a hurdle for people to apply for these jobs over and over and over again, especially if they're desperate to find work. I say go for it. I don't care. Yeah. I'm just gonna be a contrarian on this point.
I think that's fair.
So, yeah, I agree and disagree. So first of all, I remember when I used to apply for jobs, cover letters were the worst. I hated cover letters. Why do you make me write this thing that is obviously inauthentic, okay? But Jordan, as it turns out, you're wrong. Sometimes people do read the cover letters, because I did have one cover letter that I wrote that was very authentic. It was a job I really wanted, and Frank Luntz did reply back saying it was a wonderful cover letter. That is a true story from about 27 years ago when I was graduating from law school. I was a political nerd, and I knew Frank Luntz was an incredible pollster, which is true. He's the top Republican pollster, and back then I was a Republican. And I wrote this heartfelt cover letter, and he's like, "Man, damn, that was good." Nonetheless, didn't hire me. Maybe he sniffed out libs somewhere in there, and it's gonna go wrong. So he was right about that too. But look, one of the things that I have a problem with is nobody's gonna write an actual homework assignment from now on. I mean, my kids already cheat on spelling and grammar nonstop. The minute they're on the computer fixes all their spelling, so they don't know how to spell anything. And then, and now, since John explained that you could personalize things on ChatGPT and say, because in the old days, so I graded exams for troubled students on some silly TV show that I was a part of, and half the kids just took giant blocks from Wikipedia and put it into their papers. It was hilarious, because it's like they're barely trying. Like someone would leave wikipedia.com on there or .org or whatever on there, right? And I'm like, guys, this is awful, right? But if ChatGPT could personalize it, which it sounds like it can, we're gonna have no idea that the papers are fake. Everything's gonna be fake. I vote no. Let the record note that my vote is irrelevant and the future is fake. John, my last question to you is, so what do you use it for that's legit?
Well, really fast, I'll say I disagree with your last point. I don't know how to express my thoughts, but I'm gonna use my computer for a second and have it come up with a counter argument, which it could totally do, by the way. So I've tried to use it for creative stuff, trying to help me in, like, honestly, for my fiction writing, like doing some like world building stuff, trying to get it to be creative and synthesize different things. The limitation is that it's not a particularly creative. There are big limitations. It's not super creative. It effectively reads a bunch of stuff online and will tell it to you. It doesn't know if what it's saying is interesting. It doesn't know if what it's saying is true. It knows that things are facts in that it's found them somewhere, but it can't evaluate critically whether the things it's saying are true. It tends to use a similar voice from topic to topic, and so after you've used this a lot, you can almost tell when something has been produced by it. It's not clear to someone who's new, but there are tics that it uses. It is already incredible, and I'm sure it'll get better, but I've found it to actually be quite limited, at least in the way that I would want to use it.
All right, so we'll have to wait a tiny bit before the future becomes completely fake. Fair enough.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You've got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR, so those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.